Hello and welcome to the F My Life, I'm a Lawyer podcast, where we discuss the shit they told you, the shit they should have told you, and the shit you know now. As always, I make no promises that this may make you rethink some of your life's choices. Today's episode will focus on the shit they should have told you. In this episode, we're tackling one of the most stressful and probably one of the most confusing times in any law student's life and new attorney: bar prep, the bar exam, and the soul-crushing wait for results. Just in case you were hoping for some gem or an easy answer, there are no easy answers, but there are certainly a lot of stories and a few survival tips. Picture this. You graduate from law school after suffering 3 full years. You walk across that stage and you're like, man, I am finally done. No, you're not. It's just starting. And you're like, wow, I have to study for the bar exam. What's that going to be like? Is it going to be exciting? Is it going to be nerve-wracking? Am I going to be scared? What am I going to do? I'm going to have this workout plan. I'm going to look great, feel great, eat healthy, see my friends on occasion, but I'm going to study and I'm going to pass that bar exam. I'm going to be an attorney. I'm going to make money right away. I'm going to find the job of my dreams. We all have those thoughts that come into our mind that ultimately keep us going. But you sign up for bar prep at some point, whether you signed up literally the last semester of 3L or whether you signed up for that bargain steal at the beginning of 1L. You know, when all those tables are around in the cafeteria and they're like, sign up for Themis, Barbary, Peeper, Kaplan. I know when I started law school, I was like, guys, are you really using your lunch break right now to sit here and sell me on this bar prep study pro? I don't need this. No, you do. You do need it. That's the shit they should have told you. When you go in there, you're like, I'm going to know all this stuff in law school and I'm going to regurgitate that on the exam, right? Somebody's going to give me the master outline. And guess who's going to give you that master outline? The bar prep organizations. So imagine spending 3 months of your life solely studying for the bar exam. To have taken the bar exam and then you have nothing scheduled, nothing on your to-do list. Dare I say bar exam prep blues? You don't miss it at all, but you feel like something is missing. Perhaps your soul has exited your body, but seriously, you will feel empty. This is the shit they should have told you. And maybe that's why no one ever told you about these things, because it's hard to accurately describe what you'll be going through. This test is absolutely barbaric. And no one tells you how to cope during the wait period, the aftermath. In addition, prior to that whole experience of studying for the bar exam, I was a hermit. The very first time I took the bar exam, I was a fucking hermit. I went nowhere. I don't think I went to the bathroom. I did not take a break. I certainly didn't get my eyebrows waxed, I'll tell you that. I grew something fierce. And I showered, but I contemplated not, because I was like, I need to spend every single minute studying. I can't go anywhere. I can't take phone calls. I can't do this. I can't do that. I went nowhere studying so hardcore for the bar exam. You could make it easier on yourself. You can shower. Take that phone call. Get the D, sis. Love on your partner. Keep your appointments. Talk to your parents. Go for a walk. Exercise. Hell, have a beer. Sleep. It's necessary for your eyes and your brain to function. It's okay. It's important. It's necessary for the basic level of functioning and retaining information. It's important to take time for yourself. This is the shit they should have told you. And for those of you who have actually heard this, great. Those are great people to keep in your lives. No one talks about life after bar exam. You almost just don't know what to do with yourself. You don't want to think about the test. You don't want to think about the results. You try to have a very freeing experience, whatever that might look like for you, but you just feel lost. What if I pass? What if I fail? Will I lose my job? What is my family going to think of me? What are my friends going to think of me? What is my partner going to do? Whether you do or don't pass, you start imagining these fake scenarios in your head. And I hope someone told you that if you don't pass the first time, it does not and will never mean you're a failure. I hope someone will tell you how resilient you are to get back in there, put your life on pause, and take the test again. All these years of studying to get you to this point, you're not going to give up now. Lucky for you, I took the bar exam enough and in multiple locations to provide you with a variety of options and scenarios that could arise. The absolute madness of bar prep. You know, where do I begin on this topic? Bar prep. Bar prep was terrible. Oh my God. Studying for the bar exam is a full-time job. I'm going to say that again. Studying for the bar exam is a full-time job, except you're not getting paid for it. You are working 40 hours or more a week, probably spending a significant amount of overtime attempting to cram your brain with 3 years of law school content into just a few months. And if you were anything like me during law school, after I took an exam, I would legit just knock that information out of my head to make room for all the other information I needed to retain. So when I was studying for the bar exam, I'm like, well, I see glimmers of what I studied in the past, but I don't really remember this stuff because I knocked it out of my brain. I needed space. Outline after outline, probably some other outlines you got from a friend, you found some online. Surrounded by half-empty coffee cups, Pepsi cans, some leftovers, and now grotesque food in a takeout container nearby, all accompanied with a growing sense of existential dread. Your study schedule is tight. Your nerves are certainly shot, and now you're introducing yourself like, hi, I'm overwhelmed. Nice to meet you. But somehow at some point between conspiracies and exceptions to the warrant requirement, you go to the light, Carol Ann. When you're too tired to care, but also too tired to stop, you power through. And that's pretty much how I made it through. You are going to study your ass off. And sometimes, more often than not, you're going to feel like you're not doing enough. Even if you're studying 12-hour days and you're going to text your friend and be like, well, did you do this? That person's going to be like, well, I did everything that was on the assignment page. And by the assignment page, I'm talking about whatever bar prep program you do decide to follow, they will give you assignments and you should follow those to a T. Sometimes you don't. But I remember in law school, I had Professor Pieper for like some New York bar class. And I said to myself, I am going to take Pieper bar prep. Now there was Pieper, Barbary, Themis, Kaplan, all those awesome bar study programs, but none of them struck a fancy to me like Pieper. And I'll tell you why. Pieper would give you so much information. I know, it's not for everyone, but they would give you so much information and outlines, acronyms to help you prepare for the bar exam. And I remember a lot of them to this day. And that is what really helped me do well. Again, yes, okay, you're gonna be like, well, girl, you didn't pass. Okay, I understand that, but not because of Pieper. Not because of Pieper. You know, like I stated before, I am just not a good test taker. They gave me the tools. They gave me all the information. They gave me copious notes. They gave me outline after outline. The acronyms and the associations that you make with those acronyms will stick with you to this day, even when you're practicing. I remember going in for an interview and I knew nothing. I mean, there was a few things I knew about, but I knew nothing specifically about divorce and family law. You know, I'm coming from this intellectual property background, just general law aspects and knowledge of divorce law and family law. Pieper, bless their hearts and soul. You know what? Let's ChatGPT that. Pieper bar prep. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Pieper Bar Prep is a bar exam preparation program that provides resources and support for law graduates preparing to take the bar exam. Yes, that's accurate. But what they don't speak about here are the peepers. They are incredible human beings that dedicate so much time to their students. And I remember a lot of equitable division information because of peeper. HIP paid seat. What is HIP paid seat? I won't get too much into it, but basically it is what the court will take into consideration when determining equitable division. So when I had to choose my bar prep program, because of how I knew Professor Peeper was as a professor, I knew that I would do best with a Peeper bar prep program. Now, from what I remember, there were some people who decided to do that in person, studying at the law school. And you'll come to find out later on in this episode, I am easily distracted. And if you were one of those students who's easily distracted, and whom have limited time, I strongly suggest you just streaming it online at your home, or do it in a library by yourself. Wherever it is, do it by yourself. Some people work better in groups, but why would you commute to then take a course in a classroom with all your classmates? I know the argument is, will I watch everything by myself at home? In a classroom, you might be a little bit more forced to do that. But then again, you can always nobody's holding you down. You can get up, walk out of the class, but I guess there's an argument for both. But as us easily distracted folk, I stayed my ass home and I saved on commute and studied at home. It's super important to have a bar study program. Think of it like a personal trainer. Okay, think of it as, for example, I was training for the New York City Marathon in 2016 and I didn't train hills. Very big mistake. Why? I was like, I don't like hills. I'm not doing this shit. And my Achilles was like, okay, I'm getting off topic. But my point is this. You need to train for a marathon. And this is exactly what the bar exam is. So an appropriate bar study program for your mental will really help you succeed. Now, bar prep in general provides you with this game plan for tackling the material that you need to absorb. Comprehensive outline coverage, practice questions. The program breaks pretty much all of law school down into these manageable chunks by case law, statutes. These are streamlined outlines that cover the most heavily tested topics. And these outlines that we would get allows you to focus on the essentials, helping you to prioritize what matters most for the exam and also prioritize what you're having issues on. When I was studying for the bar exam, people were taking practice question after practice question after practice question. I was really focusing on the essays because I knew I would get all my points there. If I can just pack my essays full of rules, do this bomb analysis, and come to a conclusion, arguing for both sides, I would be perfect. I was like, I'm going to ace these essays. Being able to analyze the fact patterns, identify the issues, and apply the law efficiently, game changer, game changer. You will pass the essay portion. And that's what was in my head. I was like, I'm going to do this. So I was starting to write out these scripts of rules, and I would take the practice essay questions, and sometimes I would take the essay questions that were graded the highest, even though some of them were, I was like, really? This is what you chose as the highest grade? Like, this person, okay, no hate here, but this did not seem like a complete essay to me. So I would take the highest scored essay that they would give you, pull that out, pull out the rules, pull out the analysis and see what they did and see how I can add to it. And then I would just memorize that like I was an actor and this was my script and this was the big show. The essays were never an issue for me. Let's talk about the MBE. The MBE was my downfall every single time. Every single time. But what I will say is that the second time I took the bar exam, my MBE score, my test score, my overall test score jumped 60 points. You do the math. I don't want to tell you how low my score was, but you do the math. 60-point jump. 60 points. I got like a 2. What was it? And how did I do that? How did my score jump 60 points on the bar exam? Adaptabar. Adaptabar was absolutely incredible. Professor Grossman, I believe was his name. What an incredible professor for Adaptabar. Worth every penny. That's the shit they should have told you. And I know it's so expensive. It really, truly is. But if you could get a discount of some sort, or when you go into 1L or when they're offering you those low prices or those discounts, jump on it. Because whether it be Peeper or Barbary, I would supplement that with Adaptabar, especially if you're struggling with the MBE. Those timed questions and the information as to why you got that question wrong and the score that they keep for you to show you how you're performing in comparison to your peers and also in competition with yourself is so priceless and super worth it. And Professor Grossman is just absolutely hilarious and makes it fun to learn. And that's the shit they should have told you. If you can afford it, do it. And if you can't afford it, share with somebody. Go in half with somebody. It's so imperative, especially if you're struggling. And maybe somebody's willing to gift that to you. If you have a Christmas list, be like, hey, Nana, whoever it is, could you put Adaptabar on my list? Any form of any gift giving list, put that stuff. Hey, even a registry, a baby registry. You're like, what does that have to do with anything? Well, I'm telling you, I got to pay for this baby. So I got to pass the bar, get a job. So I'm going to put this on my baby registry, or put it on your wedding registry. I don't care. Put it somewhere, order it, buy it, use it. It's absolutely worth it. And that's what ultimately led to me passing the bar exam. My MBE score was the bane of my existence. And once I just stopped thinking and overthinking and I was like, this is what I would pick, but this is what they want. Once you get that in your head, you can do it. Do not overthink. This whole test, I don't want to say that. The majority of it is a game. And once you master that game, you're in. Let's talk about test day. I took the bar exam in multiple locations. Javits. I forget the name of this place, but it's a track and field location, and Pace University Law School, which is by far the most comfortable place to take the bar exam if you are so lucky to take it there. And test day is not for the faint of heart, but this is what you've been preparing for. This is game day. All the cramming, all the preparation, all the events you missed out on, all the workouts you never had, everything you did up until this minute between law school and test day, put it on the paper. Take that shit out on the test. Be angry. Go in there and manifest and say, I got this shit. I got it. This is my day. This is my stage. Here goes nothing. Test day. The shit they should have told you is, and maybe they did. Maybe somebody somewhere told somebody something regarding, maybe somebody somewhere told somebody something. Wow, that's profound. Maybe somebody told you what the bar exam would be like. Or maybe they just threw you in there like, good luck, chap. But no one told me specifically what it was like. Depending on the venue that you walk into. I know my bar exam experience at the Javits. They could be entirely different. So you pull up to the bar exam, you roll up, you're feeling this mix of complete panic and confidence. It's this weird juxtaposition between the two feelings. And you're wondering whether or not you really absorbed enough information to survive this. You check in, they look at your ID. You're ushered into this room in the Javits Center. It's just like this gray, big, echoey room of nothingness. But in this room of nothingness, there are these white squeaky chairs, and they put these clocks, I think, at the front and the back of the room. The Javits Center is a massive, massive convention hall. The Javits Center has meeting halls and industry trade shows take place there. If any of you are into Comic-Con, it's there. A lot of business conferences. It's just a prominent venue for major events. And one of these major events happens to be the bar exam every July. Just walking in there feels intimidating. But no one told me specifically what it was like. The experience that I had, no one told me about. No one said, you're going to go in there, you're going to feel like it's a meat market. You're going to walk around in this ridiculous line of students who are still studying, holding their papers down to the last minute. You're going to see people crying and shitting bricks while you're in line. You're going to go in there, you're going to go through the security. You're not going to be able to use your favorite pencil. They're going to take your sharpeners away. Nobody said that. Then you're going to sit down in this chair that squeaks nonstop. No one said you're going to be in there for hours contemplating why you went to law school in the first place. No one said these things. This is the shit they should have told you. The shit they should have told you was your experience is going to be one from the depths of hell. And absolutely not about how you're going to perform on the test. No. That's not what I mean. The actual air in the room. There's this cold air that you feel when walking in. So the shit they should have told you, bring multiple layers of clothing because the air is pumping in there. It is pumping, and that's to keep you awake. The proctors, the people you're surrounded by, the people who you're going to hear in front of you talking about, oh, this is what I got. Did you get this? Oh, they should have told you that. They should have told you that it's going to be one hell of an experience. And maybe that's why they couldn't tell you. Maybe that's why no one could give any information, because yes, I'm sure there's someone listening like, oh, that wasn't my experience. I went in there and it was fabulous. And okay, not talking about how long you studied for. I took the bar exam and I sat down with confidence, but at the same time, sitting there with confidence does not prepare you for the actual experience of your surroundings. Now, every time is different. Eventually you tune shit out. And now you become hip to it. Then you start getting the earplugs, right? Those earplugs are great. Yes, you have to adjust yourself to hearing yourself breathe. You know what I'm talking about? When you put the earplugs in and all of a sudden you're like, and that's all you hear. You hear your thoughts and you hear yourself breathing. And honestly, I'd rather hear that than somebody coughing in the background, having a hacking fit, someone sneezing, moving back and forth in their seat, people getting up and out of their seat, people trying to talk to IT because suddenly their computer's crashing. That's a distraction. And the only person that I wanted to distract me was myself. I'm like, if I can control this, then I can control a lot of what's happening on this exam. That's the shit they should have told you. Get those damn earplugs. Get them. Get them. They're a gift. And bring extra. Bring extra for a friend because people will appreciate that. And there's somebody who usually has 17 pencils, not 18. If they had 18, they gave the one away. But they have got 17 beautiful number 2 sharp pencils with the crisp erasers in the Ziploc bag. And let me tell you, I understand that because they take your sharpener away, or at least at the time they did, and because you have this one main sharpener that you need to go to. There's that person who's just raw dogging it. Like he's got nothing like on the table. He's like, oh, he's got a water bottle and the proctor walks around. He's like, sir, can you put that underneath the table, please? That's what that person has. They have one pencil, no sharpener, a chewed off eraser, and they're in there for the long haul. And then you are probably the person, at least I was, who was sitting there in pure silence, trying to collectively gather myself and stay focused and calm enough so that my stomach would not put me in shambles in the bathroom beforehand. So I am the person, you're welcome. I am the person that sits there in silence. May there be more of people who sit in silence at the bar exam. And then they pass out the tests. You go through a mix of emotions right before you take the test. I would sort of liken it to possibly your life flashing before your eyes. I can't be for sure, but the amount of thoughts that cross your mind while you're sitting in that chair about to take your pen or pencil and swish it through that little seal on your test, there will be a significant amount of thoughts that cross your mind. Some good, some bad. You might be thinking about, man, after this test, I'm going to get a beer. What kind of beer are you going to get? I'm going to get a Blue Moon with 2 oranges. You might have that thought. You might actually say, I'm just going to go to sleep. Or you might say, man, I've got a lot more studying to do. But there are these thoughts that you will have right before you put pen or pencil to paper. And that's normal. But if you free your mind, the rest will follow. In Vogue. I graduated December of 2014. I ended up taking the bar in February. Worst experience of my life. Oh my gosh. I stayed in the Bronx and I remember they had like 2 clocks that you can look at, one in the front, one in the back. My glasses, I need to get my eyes checked because I really cannot see anymore. I can't tell the time. And I had a legitimate panic attack during the test. I knew just from this panic attack that I was going to fail because it took so much time for me to come back to my brain that there was just nothing I could possibly do. So I sit down for this test and I remember taking a look at the essays. I was like, I know the essays are not going to be my problem. The MBE is going to be my problem. So I was so prepared for these essays. I sit down there. Now, at the time that I was taking the bar, it was still the New York bar exam. It was not the UBE. They give you the tests. I open the booklet. I do a quick skim of the essays. And wow, I can't remember. I couldn't tell you what the topics were, and I probably can't even talk about that. But suddenly I felt this overwhelming sense of hotness, heat come rushing from chin to forehead. I felt like my eyeballs were sweating. And then I started to see specks, different black flecks in the air. And the light started to go dim, my heart rate increasing. And I said, I'm having a panic attack. And I looked like I was getting sick. Somebody approached me and was, are you okay? I can't tell them I'm getting sick because I'm going to get kicked out of this exam and then I won't even have a shot. So eventually I was like, no, I'm fine. But I couldn't see them and I couldn't really hear anything either. It was so weird. Everything sounded muzzled. Eventually I got through some of the essays, but I knew that was the space that I was supposed to kick ass on. And I know I couldn't because I took so much time trying to come back to that. I probably don't even have a shot because this MBE is going to kick my ass. And sure enough, it did. So I did not do well on my very first bar exam. And it was not due to lack of preparation. It was just being shell-shocked and maybe over preparation because I had so much information overload in my head that I just didn't know where to spit the information out. And I remember going back to the hotel and getting some crazy contact high because somebody was smoking some serious weed. And I felt like a Karen. I called the front desk. I was like, hello, somebody's smoking weed in the... couldn't breathe. I'm sorry, okay? I couldn't breathe. And I just wasn't doing well. So fun times. What was your bar exam experience like? So after you take the test on the second day, everybody is woo, claps and everything. Even the bar exam administrators have a little joke or two for you. And they're like, go on your way and celebrate. I don't even know if I can celebrate. After you took the essay portion, at least for me, after you take the essay portion on the first day, there's hope. I definitely know what I answered, and I definitely know that this was either correct or not. Or I could get points in here somewhere. So I'm still in the game. After the MBE, I have yet to meet, and if you're out there, please comment on this, send me a message, come find me. I don't know anyone who has felt confident after the MBE. Even people who know how to take the MBE or answer the questions on the MBE are still like, well, I'm not really sure what my score is going to be or how I did on it. So you leave there. Do I celebrate? Do I let go? What do I do? You may feel like a zombie for a solid 72 hours, or you sort of just readily ease back into your life before bar exam. I learned to turn my anxiety into productivity. Oh, God. The waiting period after the bar exam is another test of your resilience. After you've finished the bar exam and you walk out those doors, the air feels less thick. You can breathe clearer. You feel a little bit of a weight lifted off your shoulders. And I say a little bit because there's still this lingering what if. After the bar exam is where life for a lot of us looks different. I know for me, I am having conversations with myself. I start replaying the exam in my head. Whatever will be, will be. I hate that word, but it's true. You submitted your exam. The proctors took it away in a big bin. They organized you by row, ushered it in the back, and it's done. So during that first 12 to 24 hours after the bar exam, did I answer that? I shouldn't have changed my answer. Did I overthink that? Those are the thoughts that probably go through your head. At least they went through mine. While I'm having those thoughts, I am certainly drinking a beer. After I say, I'm going to resume normal life, whatever normal life looks like for you. Working out, speaking to my lovely parents, maybe speaking to your partner. Because I'm sure during the bar exam, the partner got the, okay. Sure. You know, do you want a sandwich for sustenance? Sure. Maybe you should go to the bathroom. Okay. Do you want to come up for air and go for a walk? I guess. I'm sure your partner during this bar exam was like looking at you like you're a shell of your former self, and they could not wait for you to get back. So you resume your life and you exercise, you eat, you take care of yourself. You know, every now and then a little bit of the test pops in your head, but then a fleeting moment. And then you go back to doing whatever it is. Some of you may be working, so you go back to your job, and that's sort of what keeps you going. And then, of course, there's always the person who's like, I'm sure you passed. The next few weeks or months, if you took it in July, you don't get the results out until October. Why? Why so long? Because you have this job hanging on the line, and you have your life hanging in this abyss that it's like a fog, especially, which I think is really torturous, and they shouldn't do this, but they send you an email and you're like, oh my God, a premature email. What is this? What is this email? And it's like a survey. Bro, are you serious? I don't need a survey at this point in time. If you really want to know what I think about this test or the bar exam itself and the proctors and the location and all the other shit, I am not the person you want to talk to about this. Please don't send me a survey during this time of torture. It's terrible. You're all frazzled. And then once that goes away, a week and a half later, you get another email. And that is usually about character and fitness. They send you these forms also prematurely because it's, why am I filling this out if I didn't pass? But they're being proactive and sending you these papers. You can't exactly prepare yourself for the roller coaster of emotions that you'll feel every time you wake up, essentially. Some of us can get it out of our head for a little bit of time. More often than not, the wait period is the wait period. It is absolutely horrendous, and the shit they should have told you was, it's going to suck. You thought the bar exam was bad. At least that was something in your control. You studied for it. You knew how much time you had to take for each portion of the bar exam. You controlled the amount of time you spent on one essay to the next. The wait period, it's like you throw your hands up there's nothing else to do. You're just sitting around. You're not in control. And I think that's the worst period of time that you go through. That's not for the faint of heart, but you made it through. And there are people rooting for you. Know that. Whatever the results are, whether you passed or didn't pass, and I won't say it's a fail because it's not. You just didn't pass in the jurisdiction that you were hoping to pass in. You're not a failure, especially if you choose to go back out there and take the test again. The amount of mental capacity and resilience and dedication and persistence and patience that you need to go back in there to willingly torture yourself again is absolutely incredible. Know that there is always somebody just like you who is literally going through the same thing. So until next episode, check out the that was a little aggressive. Check out the Fuck My Life, I'm a Lawyer podcast right here or anywhere you find podcasts where episodes drop on Wednesdays. Because what's better than a little midweek fuckery? Remember, we're a cool legal, not uptight.